Have you ever really stopped to think about how a country pulls off its biggest goals? How it actually builds brand new industries, or completely modernizes its healthcare system, or becomes a global tech hub? It's not just about throwing money at the problem, it's about people. And that's what we're digging into today, the ultimate nation-building project, how to systematically create a skilled, capable workforce, basically from the ground up.
So let's just jump right in with a question. When a country has these huge ambitions, but it keeps falling short, what do you think is the #1 reason? Is it a lack of funding? Is it politics? Maybe corruption? What's the real culprit?
Well, the answer might actually surprise you. More often than not, the single biggest thing holding a nation back isn't a lack of cash. It's a lack of the right people in the right places with the right skills to get the job done. At its core, it's a people problem.
And this roadblock, it has a name: the national skills gap. Think of it like this invisible chasm that sits between the workforce a country needs to achieve its vision and the workforce it actually has. And let me tell you, it's the single most powerful force holding development back.
So, how in the world do you fix a problem you can't even see? Well, you have to make it visible. You measure it. The most successful nations, they don't guess. They create a super precise, data-driven human resources blueprint. They literally turn their biggest, most ambitious goals into cold, hard numbers. And here's the game plan for how they do it. This 6-step process, this is pretty much the global standard. You start way up high with the nation's biggest vision, things like constitutional mandates or 5-year plans. And from there, you logically drill all the way down to a concrete analysis of that skills gap, even factoring in the real-world stuff like budgets and how many people you can actually train.
This is where the magic happens, where that abstract vision gets translated into pure math. You take a huge goal, like improve national healthcare, and you break it down into every single task imaginable, from performing surgery to managing hospital records. Then you calculate the total man-hours needed for everything. This gives you a rock-solid mathematical foundation for your entire national plan.
So once you know exactly what's required, you can define the gap with incredible precision. It's simply the difference between the workforce you need, and we're talking about specific skills, the sheer number of people, and even where they need to be located, and the workforce you have right now, plus what you think you'll have down the road.
Okay, so the blueprint is drawn, the gap is measured. What's next? Well, now it's time to build. The solution is a really comprehensive 3-phase action plan. And the best way to think about it is that you're literally building a sturdy bridge to get from your current reality to that future you're aiming for.
And look, this isn't a quick fix by any means. This is a long-term strategic project. We're talking about a 15-year horizon here. It kicks off with immediate short-term fixes, then moves into medium-term capacity building, and finally, it leads to a long-term structural transformation of the entire nation.
This model here, it shows you exactly how different moves are made at each stage. See, in the first couple of years, you're just plugging holes, whatever it takes. In the medium term, you're building up your own systems. And then, for the long haul, you're fundamentally rewiring the nation's entire engine for creating talent.
Phase 1 is all about first aid. It's triage, right? You don't have 5 years to train a new surgeon when you need one now. So, you bring in international specialists. You outsource your IT support. You hire consultants. These are all temporary stopgap measures designed to keep essential services up and running without any interruption.
Now, in the medium term, the focus shifts. We move from buying or borrowing talent to building it. This means setting up national training pipelines, partnering up with the private sector for things like apprenticeships, and even using technology and automation to lighten the load for roles where skills are really scarce. You're building a system that can sustain itself. And finally, we get to the long-term play. This is the most profound phase of all. We're not just talking about training programs anymore. This is about fundamentally reforming the entire national education system so it lines up with future needs. It's about creating policies to keep your best talent from leaving. It's about rewiring the system itself.
But here's the thing. Even with this perfect plan, there is one major strategic mistake that causes most countries to fail. It's such a subtle but critical error in how they sequence things, and avoiding it, well, that's the real secret to success.
And here it is. The common mistake, the path most people take, is to try and train everyone first, and then fill the gaps later. The winning strategy is the complete opposite. You fill the gaps right now with those short-term solutions, and you build up your local capacity in parallel.
So why is that order so incredibly important? Because the nation can't just afford to shut down.
You can't close all the hospitals for 5 years while you train a new generation of doctors. Filling those gaps immediately ensures that citizens continue to get the essential services they need, while all that long-term transformation is happening in the background.
And this chart illustrates it perfectly. Just look, service delivery, the top bar, it stays consistently high. It never dips. And while that's happening, you see local capacity steadily growing over time. And as it grows, that external, temporary support can be gradually phased out. It's a beautifully managed, seamless transition.
All right, so let's boil this all down. What are the key takeaways? First, real, lasting national progress depends entirely on a strategic plan for its people. Second, that plan has to start with a mathematical blueprint of what you actually need. Third, a phased 15-year approach is what builds that bridge from today's problems to tomorrow's capabilities. And finally, the absolute secret sauce. Fill your gaps immediately while you build your own talent in parallel.
And that leaves us with one final thought to chew on. The gap between a nation's present and its future, it's not going to close by itself. It requires a deliberately, carefully constructed bridge. So the real question is your nation actively building that bridge, or is it just waiting for one to magically appear?